Alright, so here we have the project open and we have two print statements on the screen. This is how you have information displayed in a program. So if you wanted to have your own information displayed on the screen, you could type up a print statement, type your message inside of the quotes, which is called a string, and it will display exactly what's in between those quotes. So let's try making an adjustment here. So we're changing the words to say special guest, and when we run the program, it'll do exactly what we typed. And that's the message that it will display. Alright, so let's now look at a more complete program. So we'll just restore the code that was there before. And in this program here, we have a lunch question program. What do you want for lunch? This is going to be our special program that we're going to be looking at. Alright, so here we have a variable that stores our choice. Do we want a drink or do we want food? Let's try the program out. So we enter in our option there. Alright, so we're testing the program out and we will see it here that it's telling us, hey, enjoy your drink. We selected the option D. Now we've set this program so that it will capture even a lowercase d and give us the correct answer. But this program here also has something that will help us to check if we put in something that's not correct. What if the person typed the letter C or F? So here we have that statement here in the else part that checks for that. So if we go through the logic of the program, let's try it one more time. Sorry, C is not valid because that's not an option that we're checking for. So our final statement in the else helps us to check for anything that we don't want. We can also make our own variables and assign them to anything that we want. That upper function there is a built-in function that's available for any string variable. That's a variable that contains characters that you want to print. That's what a string variable is. And the dot upper function there is what forces that to become uppercase. We can demonstrate that by just uncommenting that code to make it active. So a comment starts with a hashtag and normally causes the compiler to ignore that statement. But we remove the comment, so we're going to see what this upper function does. You see that once we pressed a lowercase d, it says not valid because uppercase D, capital D is different from a lowercase d. Python treats them differently. That's why we needed the upper function. Alright, so it's an important part of our program at this point. So if you look at the structure of the program, it's checking for our choice input, it stores the variable, and then it continues by printing the rest of the program. If we want to create our own variable, say for example money, and ask how much money do you have, we simply type the word money to create the variable and use the input statement. So you can use the input statements to create your own forms of output. Let's try this out now. So we'll select our lunch option, press enter, then it says how much money do you have, we enter a number. So it pauses, the input statement causes a pause, waiting for input from the keyboard, and then we can go ahead and enter the amount of money we have. We can type in our number and then we can press enter afterwards. So the input statement is a good way for you to pause a program. It's a technique you can use to pause a program if you ever need to do that. So we'll type in the value here and press enter. Alright, it's telling us to enjoy our drink because it's continuing the other part of the program, finishing the rest of the program logic. Alright, so the two major things that we've learned is the output using print statement and input using the input statement. So those are the key points, but notice also the conditional formatting, if, else, elif, those are things used to make decisions, and you'll use them in programs to branch out and adjust the logic of your program. Again, we're checking to see that it actually stores the number 500 when we actually used our own print statement. It's not necessary for the program. That input for money is just to show you how to create your own input statements. The key thing about programming is that you want to practice the code. So we have not chosen a typical hello world program to start out because I believe that's kind of slowing down things way more than necessary, and seeing a more complete program I think makes more sense. Alright, so that will bring us to the end of the major features of this program. Be sure to leave a comment with a link to your